This video is going to have a different vibe, but it's necessary. Obviously, the world is protesting seemingly all together, which is very nice, in favor of Black Lives Matter movements because of the death of George Floyd at the hands of police brutality, which is one Black person amongst many that have already died because of police brutality. I think it would be a shame for me not to say something, though I have written a little bit about how racism has affected me, but to be extremely clear, a Canadian citizen, a half white, half black, a mixed Canadian citizen living in the kindest place, the Maritimes, was called a nigger baby when I was 2. My mom told me this to prepare me, I think, in her mind, for a life of being other, of being different, of being told that I was lesser because of my skin tone, which is not true at all. Because I was mixed, I always felt shunned from the white community for being Black, and then also not quite part of the Black community because I did get some of the privilege that my mom had. And that wasn't easy growing up. I was one of 5 kids that were Black or a color in elementary, middle, and high school. It was only until university that I was around a very large Black presence, but the Black people who attended the university back home are all immigrants or students from abroad that are how I would have always defined it as actually Black. They're actually African. They have this culture that I have no knowledge of because I grew up raised by my white mother, who taught me about fricot and the things that are Acadian and that make her inherently a French white. So I never got to explore my Black side until living here with my dad. And I was very white and westernized in my Blackness and only ever talked about being Black in a way to defend myself. It was the joke that I had in high school. It was the thing that I brought up. It's the thing that I still bring up at work so that you can't use it against me. I will tell you that I am Black before you can ever tell me, so that you can't weaponize my color against me. And I've always been that way for as long as I can remember, and about other things too, but this is about that. I think that this is a very good opportunity to educate a lot of my friends on their not only privilege, but the things that y'all do that are sort of racist, but society has just sort of silently decided to let it slide. Stop asking me where I'm from. I was born in Moncton in Canada. When you word it that way, you make me feel other. You make me feel like my Blackness and my color is the only interesting thing about me, when one, I'm very open about my mental health struggles and trauma, which if we're going to talk about things that suck, that's definitely much more interesting than the sucky fact that I'm different than you. Because it's never asked in a way that makes me excited about it. It always feels like I become a commodity. I become interesting. I become an artifact from this cool location. I'm exotic, which I've been called by men. When I was it's a Moncton. I was born in Moncton. You want to ask the thing. It's because it's very obvious that you want to ask, where is your Blackness from? Where is your color from? Where is what I'm seeing from? And that question is not something that any person of color, to my knowledge, wants to entertain, because we are much more than our skin color. If you really must know, I think the question you should be asking is, once you ask me where are you from, and I tell you Canada, and I tell you Moncton, and you are not sufficed with that answer, and what you really want to know is like, where you black from, that's when you would have to ask, are your parents from there as well? Is at least a more subtle way, as opposed to saying no, but where are you really from, which I've had happen to me, or what is your background, but what is your cultural background? Those are all bullshit questions. Ask me, I guess, where my parents are from, but also, like, why are you do question white people like that? Do you question your white friends about where their whiteness is from? Like, would England be interesting to you? Or Italian if they had no accent? No, you only do this to black people, to people who have a visible difference. And it's tiring and it's frustrating. I think that, like, other things that we let slide are, like, stop touching our hair, stop partaking in our culture, and the things that inherently make us a color and black and different, but then you will not support us in this movement and in other things that we strive to do. Like, you talk about wanting our curls and wanting our hair and wishing you were permanently tanned and the color of our skin, and you want our music and you want our rap and you want our big hoops and you want to do cornrows when you go to Jamaica, God forbid. But at what point are you willing to stand up for us, to stand with us, to even recognize that this belongs to us and it does not belong to you? You have colonized us and you have taken away our rights, but what makes us inherently black and different and interesting is still fundamentally ours. You can appropriate it all you want. It is still ours at the bottom line, and we will always, I think, rise against this and take it back. Didn't expect to go that deep, but here we are. And my thoughts about, like, rioting and protesting, listen, like, I think that if you are rioting and looting in Canada, then you are just trying to say, like, fuck the system. But, like, you're just taking from corporations, you're just using this as a momentum to steal, because you're probably not a black person, you're probably a white person, using this as a momentum to just break into buildings. And while I'm all for, like, take down the corporate man, I don't like big corporations. Sure, I work for one, but, like, you gotta make money somehow, but I don't really support that. I think that that's not helping the cause. If you are rioting in America and it's burn the system, and you're trying to stick it to the man because America only listens to corporations and corporate greed and is just a big money tunnel that just feeds off of money. And so if they are hurt by a big loss of money, then maybe they'll listen. I am for that. Lastly, I think the other thing I want to talk to is the idea that all of this is perpetrating hatred against the police. And what people seem to fail to understand is that the fear that cops have every day in their uniform and the discrimination against them is something that black people feel every day because of their skin color. I feel very sincerely that if you cannot handle being in a position of authority and have the backlash, like, it's the oppressed against the oppressor, as a police officer, you are reinforcing the authority of the state that is oppressing black people and poor people and native people and all of these groups. Of course they are going to hate you for that. And if you can't handle that, then you should not be allowed to wear that uniform. You should not have that job. If it is going to make you act out in such a way that you kill these people for just disliking you, then you should not be able to be in a position of power where you have access to a gun at all. If you can't handle what black people wake up and feel every single day for simply existing, you do not get to be in a position of power. I believe that police need to be defunded. I believe that we should start, I've seen it on Facebook, and me and my therapist discussed it a little bit, the idea of pairing up a police officer with a social worker or someone with mental health like knowledge, someone who can de-escalate a situation without force, without killing anybody, someone who can listen and take people off of the edge from when they're about to hurt somebody. before we need to use brute force from a cop. I do believe that police are necessary in keeping some laws and to keep people safe, but at a certain point, they are not only are they not keeping us safe, they're the ones hurting us. And I don't think that the way the world is right now, it makes any sense. I am frustrated and tired that I have to keep educating people about this. I am frustrated of the white people that I know that have come to me for education, because while I am sort of happy that you are seeking education, there is a machine called Google. There's a computer and a Google. You don't have to ask your black friends about this because we're fucking exhausted from talking about it. I shouldn't have to keep explaining the same things. It is not difficult to not dehumanize a person, and you do that consistently in the way that you speak about us, the way that you speak to us, the way that you appropriate our cultures and pretend to be us, yet you do not stand with us. All of this to say, I obviously, both Black Lives Matter, my life matters. Continue to educate yourselves. This video is not meant to sound like screw white people for their actions, so much as take the time to educate yourselves. Do not ask your black friends to educate you. This video was a little bit of an education on how to speak to us and the feelings that I have about the way a lot of the people I know have treated me in the past, and the fact that Canada is not absolved of their racism. Some of my white friends have done things to me that are microaggressions against microaggressions within racism. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but I hope that you all continue to educate yourselves. I hope that there is a better future in store for all of us, where we all can be seen as one. And yeah, keep fighting the good fight. Keep speaking, keep having these conversations. And if you have questions, even though I said I don't want to educate you, like, yeah, for the cause, I will probably educate you. So message me if you feel that I've said something that you do not agree with, because I would really like to take the time to tell you. Also, it's Black Lives Matter, not All Lives Matter, and I'm not going to talk about that again. Bye.